everybody, my name's Eric Hopkins, and this is my good buddy Brandon, and this is this week's edition of Mike's Wrestling Fun Facts and Trivia. But if you're finding this for the very first time, please click that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. So last week, Brandon requested a trivia question that involved the Road Warriors. Now, I don't know exactly what year he's going to take this from, or I think we
I don't either, and I didn't make it really specific. I just said the Road Warriors, so this ought to be real interesting.
I think you kind of asked whether or not it would be an older question, so it's probably going to be something, I'm guessing, 80s. I did say So it's going to be probably before their time as the Legion of Doom. So let's get into that trivia question real quick. Here's Mike, and let's hear what he has to say. Here we go.
In the early 1980s, the Road Warriors made their debut in Georgia Championship Wrestling as part of Precious Paul Ellering's Legion of Doom stable. When the stable broke up, the Legion of Doom name actually stuck with the Road Warriors throughout the rest of their career. As a matter of fact, during their stint in the American Wrestling Association, the AWA, they would continue to use the name, being introduced by the ring announcer as both the Legion of Doom and the Road Warriors. On August the 25th, 1984, the Road Warriors won the AWA World Tag Team Championship and would go on to be the only team ever to win the AWA, NWA, and WWF World Tag Team titles. Now, I want you to write down these 5 tag teams and tell me which one the Road Warriors beat to win the titles, the AWA World Tag titles, and which team ended their run as the AWA World Tag Team Champions on September the 29th, 1985. Your teams are the High Flyers of Greg Gagne and Jumping Jim Brunzell, Baron Von Raschke and the Crusher, the East-West Connection of Jesse the Body Ventura and Adrian Adonis, Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall, and the team of Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin and Mr. Electricity Steve Regal, who is not the William Regal that we know today as NXT General Manager. I hope you all are having a wonderful time with these videos. If you've not done it yet, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I hope Eric has been able to clean off his TV from all the drinks he probably spilled on it from his excitement over CM Punk debuting in AEW. I have no idea what Eric was getting at last week, the sick freak, about what I could have possibly been talking about. Y'all take care, and I'll see you next week. I have no idea what Eric was getting at last week, the sick freak, about what I could have possibly been talking about.
Bro.
Y'all take care, and I'll see you next week.
That's funny as hell. You got your ass on that one.
Brother, I mean, just because I like CM Punk doesn't. Anyway, sorry. I guess maybe it was me who took it to the gutter. I apologize. Okay.
You got your ass on that one.
You know, and I'll tell you this: he's going to get me on this question too, because dear God, it took me 5 minutes to write all these team names down because I don't think I've heard of any of these teams. Not only that. This is did he say 1985 when these titles changed hands? I mean, it's apparently a 2-part question here. Who they beat to win the AWA tag team titles and who beat them about a year or so later. To me, Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall, I'm sitting there thinking, Kurt Hennig maybe, Scott Hall, maybe obviously it would have to be way before he came into WWE as Razor Ramon, but I don't think it would be them just because of Scott Hall alone.
Listen, I'm going to throw a shot in the dark here on both of these answers.
The
only ones I'm going to pick the names I like, and I'm probably going to be wrong. But I know who the Crusher was. I can't pronounce the other guy's name.
Baron Von Raschke is what he said? Rushkin?
I know who the Crusher is. I know that.
I don't even know that.
And that's my first answer. And the second one.
So they beat those guys.
If I had to pick a team, I guess.
Well, they're all teams.
Yeah, I know.
You mean the
High Flyers.
The ones who beat the Road Warriors or the High Flyers?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm only picking the first name because I know who I like the Crusher. But
you're going to have to let me know who the Crusher is after I guess here because I don't even know who it is.
No, it's not that I know who he is. I just like his name.
Oh, okay. I got you. This time period, though, and I'm assuming all these teams were in the AWA. I'm guessing he's not throwing us off on that one.
And the name the Crusher sounds like an AWA name, and then twist the shit out of that. So,
a lot of these, Mr. Electricity, I mean, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell. I mean, these definitely sound like those old school names for sure.
Yeah.
And I've heard of a lot. I mean, I've heard of Greg Gagne. Obviously, I know of Adrian Adonis and Jesse Ventura, Jimmy Garvin. I've heard.
Did I change my answer?
I don't care. Go ahead.
To the ones that beat them, I'm going with Adonis and the Body.
Jesse Ventura, the East-West connection.
Yep.
But you're going to keep Baron von Rushkin and the Crusher as the ones they beat. Okay?
Can't go wrong with Crusher. Yep.
No, can't go wrong with that. Again, this is your question. This is a shot in the dark for me, and it sounds like it is for you a little bit. I'm not going to take Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall. Like I said, that just feels like
just agree with me.
Now watch it be them. I'm going to be a little different, though. I'm going to take the High Flyers as the one that they beat, Greg Gagne and Jumpin' Jim Brunzell. And then, I'll say the same with you. The East-West Connection is the ones who beat them for the title. So let's see what the question, or the answer, I should say, here is.
You're wrong as shit. It's about to be Razor Ramon and...
Yeah, probably, and Mr. Perfect. Yeah, no doubt about it. On August 25th, 1984, he wrote the Toad Warriors. I think he meant to write the Road Warriors. This is not Battletoads or, anyhow. The Road Warriors would defeat the team of Baron von Rushke and the Crusher. So you got that one right.
I tell you what I tell you. You can't go wrong with the Crusher.
You can't go wrong with it was Rushke, not I wrote Rushka or Rushkin. I couldn't tell what he said there. During their reign, they would actually wrestle the NWA World Tag Champs Ivan and Nikita Koloff in several matches when the two companies had a working agreement for a spell. They would reign as champions until September 25th, 1985, when the team of Jimmy Garvin and Steve Regal, the gorgeous Jimmy Garvin and Mr. Electricity Steve Regal, with help from Michael Hayes and Buddy Roberts of the Fabulous Freebirds, upset them in their match. So apparently we were both wrong on that one. They would wrestle their last AWA match at Wrestle Rock 1986 in April 1986, defeating Hayes and Garvin in a steel cage match. So, wow.
Even the names of their pay-per-views or big shows were 80s.
Wrestle Rock.
Rock.
Yeah, listen to that.
Bring some of these back.
I agreed. I'm fine with this. I mean, unfortunately, we can't. If NXT was still doing their thing, I would think that they could maybe do something like that.
Bring back some of these names too, legit.
Yeah, gorgeous Jimmy. Of course, a lot of people have been gorgeous over the years. Mr. Wonderful.
A lot of Nature Boys too, and a lot of Mr. Wonderfuls.
Yeah. Probably a few bodies, the bodies.
Probably a few bodies.
Ravishing. Oh, I don't know. Ravishing Rick Rude kind of took that one. But a lot of people with that same kind of gimmick, very self-absorbed.
Yeah.
The narcissists.
A lot of people in the 80s with like the kind of the Nature Boy or Playboy-esque image.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of them. If you watch those old, interviews, everybody's in suits with the big aviators, hair slicked back. Nobody was dressed casual back then. Gator shoes on, rings,
look at guys like any version of the Four Horsemen, anything of like Evolution. Those guys are always suits. Of course, you got a lot of the champions nowadays. Like Bobby Lashley wears a lot of suits. We saw Damian Priest do that last week. But that's always kind of been a thing in wrestling. That, and like I said, the guys who are always self-absorbed, love to look at themselves in the mirror. That's a classic shtick.
That's like not really done well anymore.
Not well, no.
Like the Martel, the body,
the model,
model.
The model, Rick Martel. Yep.
And you don't have guys like have like the persona that Ravishing Rick Rude had, or even the body had. Jesse Ventura. You don't get gimmicks like that anymore. Hell, even Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
I always liked the narcissist when Lex Luger was that. That was, and I think that was a Vince call, from what I understand. But it worked for the time.
Like
just nowadays it just feels like professional wrestling. I mean, I know a lot of people want to watch it like it was back in the 80s, and that's why WWE is trying to do the character stuff and the big guys and things like that. So, because it has worked for them in the past. I understand it, but it feels like today professional wrestling is more successful in today's world when it's viewed or booked as if it were a real sport to a degree.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people like to see nowadays with your NXTs or your AEWs. But there is a niche out there for those 80s style clown, gimmicks and things like that. So, I mean, it just, I guess it depends on your preference. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, those 80s gimmicks were actually a lot of fun. But it seems like when you try to do that today, it doesn't seem to work as well with a lot of fans. Maybe it's just, times have changed, wrestling has changed a little bit. But at the same time, like I said, WWE continues to try to do things like that for sure. Yeah, it's a debate about whether or not you like it better or not. That's a whole other story.
Bring back the Shawn Michaels mullet and with the earrings. You know what I mean?
Hell, AJ Styles and Omos is doing the Diesel gimmick with Shawn. I mean, that's basically what that whole thing is now. I mean, so there are things that's always going to be recycled in pro wrestling. That's just the way it goes.
That's the nature of the business, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And that's with anything in life, any business in general. Like, name me one company that's 100% original.
Yeah, that's
true. That isn't something else, but with their spin on it, type shit. You know what I mean? Like, I take the food industry for instance. There's millions of restaurants, right? Name one of them that's doing one thing original, like as far as presentation. It's all the same.
If you can find it,
some places you might go to some places where the gimmick inside is different. You know what I'm saying? But you're still getting the same thing you find on a menu somewhere. It's burgers, fries.
It just depends. They may cook it differently or something
like
that.
They have their own spin to it, yes. But it's not a reinventing the wheel. They're cooking food.
It's not like back in the 80s when McDonald's was invented. That was new. That was the invention of fast food and how to do things like that. Which, if you ever seen The Founder starring Michael Keaton, you understand. I mean, the whole ordeal that went down there, the guys who actually created it didn't actually get to keep their idea, that sort of thing, which was terrible. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, but invention nowadays is few and far between. Most people just try to take an idea, either try to improve upon it or put their own spin on it, their own niche. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't work. And pro wrestling is no different. Yeah, I mean, I guess if nothing else, we can always go back and watch the classics in the 80s and some of these old matches. Mike tries to send us all these, wrestling matches on Facebook Messenger and things like that where we, he's showing us some of the actual video of these, which a lot of them are on YouTube. So I know he highly encourages everybody who watches his segment here, if he wants to, if you want to get, educated on some old school wrestling and some of the booking things that they do back in the day and see how it relates to pro wrestling today, he highly recommends you go check out some of these matches that we do trivia for here on the channel. He's a big
some of the booking decisions back in the day are fucking weird.
I know he's even mentioned that he wouldn't mind us maybe reviewing some old school shows here on the channel, maybe once a month or something like that.
To do that.
Yeah, and we very well could.
Wholeheartedly.
Because he thinks it'd be a good experiment for us to kind of see some old school booking compared to today, and just kind of give our thoughts on it as well. Which we may end up doing that. If nothing else, we may start out slow, like once a month and things like that. But we very well could do that, and we might have to implement that into our schedule. So we'll talk about that though. But let us know what you guys think, and if you guys got any show recommendations you'd like us to watch, by all means, let us know, and we'll check them out as well. But I guess that will do it for this week's edition of Mike's Fun Facts and Trivia. Got any suggestions for next week's question, or want to let him kind of?
Fuck no, that one was too hard, Mike.
I mean,
calm down.
I don't know what the next WWE pay-per-view is coming up. I guess he could always, do something in the history of that. I know they were scheduling an Extreme Rules at one point, but I don't know if they kind of nixed that or not. But anyway, he don't have to do that.
I would love to see, have him do an old pay-per-view.
Oh, well, now you're asking for it. So,
I mean, a pay-per-view that's like relative, like to an up-and-coming pay-per-view, in the next month or two. But do an old one, like the first one of its time. I probably could tell you right now, I don't remember who was in what match from 15 years ago or whatever in a match.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Do that.
Well, there's your suggestion then, Mike. I mean, we can continue. We can always continue to do suggestions, or you could just say, "Hey, I want to do my own thing now." But you just let us know for sure. But for right now, we're gonna throw it out at you. So old school pay-per-view of maybe a show coming up here in the next few months or something. I don't remember what I was on WWE's schedule right now. After SummerSlam, it just kind of feels like it falls off a little bit until Survivor Series. So I know they got their Saudi show. Well, we don't necessarily need to go into all that. But for one, it's not been around very long. We might remember a lot of it, but I would. Because I wouldn't, because I'm not watching any of their Saudi shows. Sorry, I just don't feel like I need to do that. But that's another story. But so I guess that'll do it for this week's edition of the trivia. Good question, though. Definitely made us think. Definitely made us reminisce a little bit about the old school days and things like that. That's always a fun time as well. So if you're, what do you guys think of this video? If you're finding this for the very first time, please comment down below, let us know, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and definitely hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. And until our next video, guys, keep it classy. No response to that? All right, cool. Later.